Yo.
What up? What up?
Woo. What up, man?
Dude, episode 112, man.
112, man. Holy shit, bro. We're a whole R&B band now.
Dude, I was just saying, man, like, I felt like, leading up to episode 100 was just, it felt like it was kind of crawling, and like the episode 100 was going to be like this big bang almost.
Yeah.
And then once we hit that, like, how are we 12 more episodes in? Like, I don't even remember 100 right now.
Yeah. And we were just saying it had to have been like 3 months ago. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, man.
No,
like
not
that,
at all.
You said it was so, I think maybe because we were looking forward to the 100
Yep.
for so long that then it was like, it just dragged. And now it's like, yeah, 112.
Yeah, it's just gone. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us.
Yeah, man.
Welcome back to the Compliment Podcast. He is Juan and I'm Sean, and every week we get together, have a few drinks, and talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Hit him with the drink of the day.
Woo. Yeah, listen, we had to step away the last couple weeks from the bourbon. So we stepped away last week, and then we're going to do it again this week because we had been on a bourbon kick. But we're going to keep it summary. This week, man, it's called the Frenchie. So this is called
is that right?
The Frenchie.
That's good.
So the Frenchie, this one's it's simple for you guys to complain about the ingredients, and it's all like normal stuff. So it's going to be
Is something retreating in the drink?
You garnish it with a white flag. Spoiler alert. So we got to the end of it.
Sorry, man. Go ahead. I digress.
Yo, so this was going to be 2 ounces of the Tanqueray Lime Rank Port Gin. We tried it with regular. It didn't work as well. So 2.5 ounces of the Tanqueray Gin, 2.5 ounces of grapefruit juice, and half an ounce of Saint Germain.
Yep.
And then we topped it off with club soda. And I'm trying to make sure. And then we garnish it with a grapefruit wedge. And that's it, man. Stir it in a glass, drink up. It tastes delicious. It's simple.
If you like grapefruit.
If you like grapefruit,
right?
yeah.
Like this, it's really good.
Yeah, I guess grapefruit is like, I didn't realize that, like for a lot of people, it's kind of like an acquired taste sort of thing. Like, I guess it's too bitter.
Yeah, I like it.
I love grapefruits, man, but I guess some people really don't like it, man. So
Yeah, I can bust open a grapefruit and just eat it like that. Where like my kids would be like, oh no, I need put sugar on it.
On a grapefruit?
Oh yeah, have you ever? It's actually good, man. I don't do it, but as a kid, my mom would buy like not the pink grapefruit. She'd get the regular joints.
Yeah.
And then she would slice it in half and then sprinkle sugar on top of it. It's actually good.
I don't think I've ever had that.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good, man.
Like a carnival grapefruit, yo.
Yeah.
Yep. Sugar makes everything better, man.
Yeah,
so I believe
right.
you. Oh snap, man! I would have never thought about that, dude.
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
All right, man. My compliment of the week, or our compliment of the week, is going out to Mr. Vin Scully. Rest in peace, Mr. Vin Scully. He this past week, he passed away at 94 years old.
He passed away this week?
Yeah, it was like in the last week.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep. Did I did not write it down on what day was that he passed, but let's see here. August 2nd.
Wow. Yeah, so literally this past week. Wow.
Yep. A couple of things I didn't know about Vin Scully. So Vin Scully was born in the Bronx.
Hey.
Whoa. Born in the Bronx, raised in Washington Heights, which Washington Heights right now is like, that's like Dominican town up there.
Really? Yeah, Washington Heights.
Yes, you got to figure.
Yeah,
that's Manhattan, like West Side Manhattan, like West Side, like North.
I wouldn't have been able to. I never knew Vin Scully was from the Bronx. I never seen him wear Timbs or jeans to the beach.
Well, he was born in 1927.
They didn't have.
It
Timbs.
was different back then,
or jeans back then.
It was different back then, bro. But graduated from Fordham University. Began his career in 1950.
Oh my God.
Okay, and then retired in 2016, and with that 67 years is the longest tenure by any broadcaster with a single team in a professional sports history.
Wow. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Vince Scully, long time voice of the Dodgers.
Yeah, sorry, yes.
Yeah. The Brooklyn Dodgers, which then became the LA Dodgers.
Right. So he was with them in New York. Right. In 1957 was when the Dodgers and the Padres, was it? No, the Giants. It was the Dodgers and the Giants, who was Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah.
And then the Giants played in Manhattan.
Yep.
So they both left town in 1957, went to the West Coast, and actually brought baseball to the West Coast for the first time.
Oh, was that right? Oh, I didn't realize that was the first. Okay.
And it was cool. I guess the owner at the time of the Dodgers said his most valuable asset was Vin Scully.
Back then?
Back then. Because they were saying that, like, he was one of those voices, man, that people would go to the baseball game and bring their radios.
To listen to
because they want to listen to him while they're watching the game, bro.
I could see that, man. He had one of these like if you don't know who Vince Scully is and you just go YouTube Vince Scully and just listen to him make a call. First, his knowledge about the game and like how he got to know players is just like insane. But his voice, man, he had this classic like radio.
Yeah.
Like every time I hear him, I think of those like 1920s radios. Like you see here, like that weird like I don't know. I didn't even know what I just did there. Like some weird nasally like. But you just got that. Like it's like the stereotypical radio. Like I feel like he's the barometer for like what a radio voice is supposed to sound like, and you're never gonna get there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
When I heard him, especially early on, I remember thinking like, you know, when I would see movies about back when there was no television and it was just radio and people would gather on a radio to listen. I always pictured like him. You know, like he would be the guy that you gather on the radio to listen to. When there was no television.
See, and I think growing up a Yankee fan, right? Like for me, obviously, those Vince Scully's just like a legend, right? So I think anybody, if you're a baseball fan, you know who Vince Scully is. And then being a Yankee fan, it was Michael Kay.
Yes.
And so Michael Kay is like that voice that I think of all the time because I think of all these classic calls as a Yankee fan that he made. You know, whether it's like the Yay bomb from A-Rod, and he did that whole like dragged out like thing. But Vince Scully has these like. It's so funny, man. Like, there's calls I know that are really popular that he's done, that he's made. But more than anything, I always think of his, like, simple, like, and the 2-2. You know what I mean? Like, this basic, like, you know, oh, strike three, swinging. You know, like, he had, like, just such a calm, like, normal, almost way that he called it. Like, he never got, like, this super excited, crazy... You know, like there's, you know how there's like Mike Breen in basketball where you just associate the bang, you know, with him.
Yes.
Like Vince Scully doesn't have, at least that I can think of, like this phrase. It's just how he says everything. It's like I don't know. It's strange, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, man. And you know, and I hated that. You know, I wish I had given him. You know, I guess had we been doing the podcast back when he retired, which is in 2016. I probably would have given it to him then. I hate giving the flowers.
Gone that long?
2016, bro.
Wow.
So he retired when he was 88 years old. Yo, how many of us are able to actually do what we love for that long?
Yeah, that guy got to watch a baseball game every night and call it and talk about it on the radio and do stuff like. And he had a passion, obviously. Like you said, doing what he loved.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And like I said, I hate giving people their flowers after they're gone. You know, you want to give people their props while they're here. Wasn't able to do that with him. But definitely, you know, deserves the props. Definitely affected multiple generations, man. You're talking about a guy who was, you know, born almost 100 years ago, bro. So this is
because he's born in what, in the 20s, right?
1927.
Wow. Yeah. Shit.
And you figure by 1947. He's calling games. Well, actually, no, 1950 was when he started.
He wasn't.
So he's 23.
He didn't call Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was in the 40s, right? He didn't get to call the Jackie Robinson game. Right?
I don't know.
But still, he's a guy who saw so
much. He saw the country change. He saw a culture change, and was able to, you know, like even our kids, had they been like my boy's not into baseball, but if they were, they would have heard him.
They would have heard Vince Scully. Yeah.
And you're talking about, you know, my father who's passed, and he passed at the age of almost 92. Heard Vince Scully.
You
know what I mean, man? That's that generational. What you're talking about? 3 generations of people.
Yeah, who knows?
Listening to the same guy.
And I think even if you're not a fan of baseball or sports or whatever in general, but I guess just baseball, you don't know Vince Scully is. Every single announcer you can think of now has been influenced by him in some way, shape, or form. From the Bob Costas of the world to the Jim Grays to, Maddens. All these guys, like, no matter what sport they call, I think Vince Scully's always been sort of the measuring stick for, like, how you call games, man. He was just, like, so knowledgeable, so calm. So, dude, I think about 70 years. I can't think of a controversy involving Vince Scully.
No, I mean,
that's a lot of time to talk and not say some wild shit. Like, we had 3 hours into our pod, and I was like, "Yep, we're toast."
Canceled.
Yeah, like,
good thing we only got 2 listeners.
That guy had, like, I wouldn't even say something cancelable, but even like nothing questionable that I could remember, nothing controversial at all. Like, he just managed to talk baseball and make it interesting and do like the, man, wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, man. So shout out to Vince Scully.
Shout out Vin, yo.
Like I said,
let's go.
Long. I wouldn't say gone too soon because 94 years old, man. Like, dude, you lived a good life.
If we get to live to 200, then it's gone too soon. Bro.
Yeah. But as of right now, he's doing better than most.
Shit, it's full, man. Yeah. You save some life for the rest of us, Vin. Damn,
dude. You seen Serena is about to. She's going through like her last tournament, right?
Yeah. So she's Labor Day is it the U.S. Open? So that's around Labor Day, right?
She's played like it's on now, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't think did it start? Okay, because I know the U.S. Open is normally like September, and I think the U.S. Open is her last tournament. I think that's usually like Labor Day weekend. It sort of wraps up. And she said that's her last one, which was odd that she kind of did like 3 weeks from now I'm done sort of thing. Like,
and watching her play, I saw some highlights the other day, or actually was it today or yesterday? She's still powerful as hell, still a great player.
She's 41, right?
Ooh, that's a good question.
She's 41.
Is she?
Yeah.
That's to play at a high level in any sport at that age.
That's crazy.
Is crazy.
Yeah, it's time to hang it up. I mean, but she's still dominating.
Yeah. I wonder what she does next.
Well, she said it's to start a family.
Oh, really?
That's why she's retiring.
She has a kid, though.
She has one, but she wants more.
Okay.
So I guess I'm trying to say this without coming off like a dick, but I'm gonna come off like a dick.
You're
anyway.
an asshole.
So let's get that out the way.
Okay, go.
So she said she's retiring to start a family, or to continue to grow her family.
Okay.
And then she goes on this tangent about how if she was a man, she wouldn't have to pick a family over a career. And that in order for her to expand her family, she's forced to retire, even though she could still play and wants to still play. So she has to now retire because whatever. Like, so basically, if she was a male tennis player, she wouldn't have to do this because obviously they don't have to bear children and their bodies go through that whole thing and yada yada yada, which I can empathize to. Also, you're 41, bro. Like, you could have had kids in your 30s and you could have taken a year off and then come back, and you could have like this whole like she goes on this whole thing about how women have it tough and and they have to pick careers over kids or like vice versa. What, like, nah, bro. Like, I don't feel that bad for you. Like, you got to dominate a sport you wanted to dominate. You got to make a lot of money. You didn't, like, you chose to, like, you could have had kids whenever, right? Like, I get whatever, you met your partner or whenever you did and all that, but I don't know, man. I feel like that's not the time or place, like, to sit there and go like, oh, I had to pick a career or my child. Like, you're not some lady who's working at corporate America who's a breadwinner for her family. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like,
and realistically, right? Like, if family is your priority, you've made a shit ton of money over your career. Like, money's not an issue.
Yeah.
You can still play tennis.
And you can still play tennis. Right. And take a year or two off and then come back.
Right. Like,
yeah, like, I just think it's like this. There's a time and place, man, to pull the whole card of like, oh, if I was a man. I just don't think that's the one. Like, because that's a choice you make to have kids, to do, like, okay, if he was a male tennis player, sure, like, knock somebody up.
But dude, what male tennis players over 40? Like that's dominating.
You can't dominate over 40 in tennis, bro. Like you play a sport where
you were a guy, you're not. Yeah, you're still not. You're probably not dominating like that at that age.
No, not at all. And Twitter had this whole thing about how she could beat like male, like she's so dominant, whatever. She could beat male tennis players, and I'm like,
some,
bro,
not fucking
early in her career. So it's actually happened. She played, I forget who it was, but the guy was ranked in the hundreds in the males. Crushed her. And he was like the 137th ranked player in the world.
I mean, you talk about dudes like who is it? Is it Djokovic? That the guy's name?
No chance.
Like those, like you're not going against those.
No chance.
Like that guy.
But
or Rafael Nadal.
You can say she's in a sport where she could dominate into her 40s, as a female. Like,
but to her point, if you were a male, right, like, and
you would have retired 7 years ago,
but equally as dominant as a male.
Mm-hmm.
Are you playing into your 40s? I doubt it, man.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't feel bad for you when you get to play until you're 41 and you're doing, like, I get it. Like the female body, right, has a finite amount of eggs and stuff, and listen, she has the means to have J-Lo had a baby at like damn near 50. Like,
I was just gonna say, man, it's actually incredible that at the age of 40, 41, whatever she is, that she's going like, yeah, I want to pop out more babies.
Yeah, that was unheard of, like 20 years ago.
Yeah, normally, by 35, man, if you haven't had them, like, you're high risk.
You're done, yeah, and you're high risk. So now, and I get like she wants to start a family, but like, I just hate this, like, how she took this route of like, oh yeah, I had to pick. It's like, you're 41. You played 20 plus. She's been a pro since she was like 16. You played 25 years. A male, like Djokovic and Nadal and Federer and all those guys are like their mid 30s. They're still dominating because it's tennis. But you're like, their time's coming up. Like they're still winning, but they're not winning at the rate that they used to. And they're not dominating their sport into their 40s. Like, maybe tennis might be a little better than most sports, but still, like, you're not.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you're not doing that. Like, it's inevitable. Some guy's gonna swoop in. So it's like, yeah, you also got to play 5 years longer in your prime than most males. You also got, like, I just hate this. Like, it's like, oh yeah, because you guys can't have kids. Like, it's just, I don't know. I hate the idea that you go down this route of blaming this like gender thing. It just didn't make sense to me because I go, man, we could celebrate a great career you've had. I would argue Serena Williams is one of the greats of all time, male or female, at her sport than anybody who's ever lived, right? Absolutely. You figure in tennis, if you're making a list of top 10, top 20 tennis players all time, male or female, she's in that list, right? So she's probably top 5, top 10, like, she's dominated. She's better at what she does than a lot of people. I would, I would put like Floyd Mayweather in those categories, and like Muhammad Ali, and you put like a Barry Bonds. Like, she's in that talk of like, she's that good at her sport.
Yep.
So it's just shitty to me that she chose like that narrative to like walk away. Like, I really want to keep playing, but because I'm a woman, I gotta, and I want to have babies. Like, I gotta walk away. Like, I just hated that, man.
Wah.
Yeah.
You ever been to a tennis match?
I have not.
Because I've never been like that. I've never been to a tennis match.
No.
Actually, there's several sports I've never been to. Tennis is one of those things that I've always looked at, and when the greats are playing, I will watch on TV. But I've never really like looked into what it would cost to go to a tennis match because it doesn't look that exciting to be there. It is
it's
expensive,
so expensive,
right?
And you got to get into waiting lists, and you got to get into like at least if you want to go to like a Wimbledon,
the big ones, right,
or a U.S. Open and stuff, it's really expensive, man. Like I have like a sports bucket list of things that I want to do, and then like Wimbledon is one of those things that's on there. Like, I would love to go see a match at Wimbledon one day, center court kind of thing. I've been lucky enough to have seen like I've been in golf tournaments. I've seen Tiger play. I've stood 10 feet from Tiger as he was taking a drive, which was the coolest shit. Like, it's so funny. Like, I remember even the person I was with, we saw several players tee off, really good players in golf.
Yeah.
Tiger teed off, and we were like, that looked different. Like, the ball made a sound that I'm like, I didn't even know golf balls can make sounds like that. Like, it was just so ridiculous. The torque that his body like produced, you were just like, yeah, that's why your body's falling apart. Because like, just wasn't normal. Like, it just wasn't normal. Like, I've seen hundreds of people take golf swings like at the amateur and pro and just like weekenders, it didn't look like anything I'd ever seen in my life.
Is this like pre strippers Tiger?
No, it's post.
Oh, post.
This is like shitty Tiger, quote unquote. This is shitty Tiger.
Okay.
This is Tiger. I saw him play 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So this is like the year or two before COVID. Yeah. This is post that, and it didn't sound like anything. Like when I tell you, the ball sounded like it was screaming. Like I've never heard a golf ball. Like, you hit a golf ball and it makes like the think sound. It made the think, and then you can hear wind. Like the ball's literally going like as it's flying by you.
Yeah.
No one else's ball made that sound. And I'm talking, I saw Rory McIlroy. I saw, like
who's he's top guy
Bubba
right now,
Watson.
right?
Yeah, I saw like really good golf players. And then Tiger went up, and dude, I remember he swung, the ball flew by us, and everyone like in silence just looked at each other and went, "What the fuck was that?" Like, it was just insane. So I've seen him, been lucky enough to see him. But you probably can't afford to see like half of these big time like things like anymore.
This is the thing, even like a Super Bowl, man. I would love to go to Super Bowl, but I'm just not willing to pay the money to go see.
No, man. Like I seen, to do Wimbledon, you have to get on this list, and then people sleep there because they still do it old school. And then tickets, like a pass to see Wimbledon, is crazy. Like it's in the dude. As a matter of fact, I'll take a different one. I didn't have to do Wimbledon. I looked at the F1 stuff when they came here to Miami. Yeah. Thousands of dollars to reserve your spot, and you didn't know what seat you were gonna get. And I didn't see anything under $1,000 per ticket. Like it was something.
Where do they sit you when you go to those like F1s? I mean, are there like, is it like bleachers?
Yeah, there's hospitality tent type things. There's nice seating.
No, but I mean like the ones that you pay. Oh, you know what I mean? Like if you're paying like bottom dollar, what do you sit?
Yeah, you're sitting in bleachers.
Yeah,
and then you're sitting in bleachers at some random turn, right? You can't even see the whole thing. You're watching it on a TV. Mm-hmm. When they come back around to your area, because these tracks are like 2+ miles long.
Yeah,
like you're not even seeing the whole thing. You might watch it in the distance. And you're spending all that money, man. It's crazy. Like I it's funny because I was reading an article. We've been meaning to talk about this of like the I have it up here. It's like the cost of a family to go out and do these family outings. So it was like America's favorite family outings are increasingly out of reach, and some of the things they talk about are sporting events.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And
fuck anything, movie theater.
Anything, yeah, exactly. So movie theaters is on here, man. And
it is.
It's funny, yeah. So and it's crazy because it talks about like the price of a ticket, the price of food, the price of a drink, the price, and one of the things it does is a baseball game. So you talk about Vince Scully earlier.
Yep.
So it was saying that like, and I love this. So the cumulative rate of inflation between 1960 and 2022 is 888%. That's how inflation has increased. Like
you're talking about 60 years.
Yeah, over a 60-year span. That's the cumulative rate of inflation has been 888%. And then they did this breakdown of like what a hot dog costs, but at a baseball game,
yep.
1960 and today, 1,366% increase. So well over inflation.
Wow.
The price of a ticket, 1,781%. So it's
1,700%
over double
bro.
Inflation. Yeah, so you can't even blame the cost of tickets, the rise in cost on inflation. It's literally just things are just more expensive. People are raising prices. A beer,
but are things more expensive because the people are willing to pay for it?
Well, that's what it is. Yeah, people like companies set a price. People are willing to pay. They just keep increasing the price because they're like, we're not having trouble selling out. We're not having trouble things, so people are willing to pay it, and they just keep bringing it up, right? Like it's I
think it sucks for the people that can't afford it, but from a business standpoint, you go, yeah, you just keep raising the prices until you find that happy medium.
Until it's empty, right? Yeah, and people don't. Yeah, you find because you go, why would I want to maximize profit if people are still willing to pay for it? And the shitty part is you're pricing out sort of lower level income or you know like that, because the argument of the article was that like in the 1960s like anybody could go watch a baseball game. It was like 10 cents to get a ticket or whatever it was, but like today the amount of money that you have to make, and I'm gonna get into the breakdown now, it's insane, dude. The biggest increase in here, which I thought was wild, parking. 6,616% increase of what it cost back then to park, in terms of like where you rank it versus inflation.
Yep.
That's 10 times the rate of inflation or 9 times the rate of inflation. So it's not even like, oh, it's more expensive to buy land or whatever it is. It's just like, we can just charge that. Like how many times have you parked somewhere where they charge you like $50 and you're like, well, I don't really have a choice, so I got to pay the $50 to park here. It's nuts, man.
Dude, even the theme parks here, right? In Orlando, the Disney, Disney Universal, right? Like, it's not just the price of tickets to go into the park. You got to pay for parking.
Yeah.
And the parking, like, it's not like you put too close. You know, it's not like in my opinion, man, there should be like free parking, and then if you want some shit really close to the entrance, then you pay.
Then you pay more.
But now, or no, then you pay, period. But now the way it is like you pay for parking, and if you want to be close, you just pay more.
Oh, dude, Disney, I'm glad you brought that up. So, like, Disney was 25 cents to park in 1960. If you adjusted that for inflation for today, it should be $2.47. It's 30. So it just like the way it's outpacing. So it's crazy. The thing about the article is basically like, yo, to have a family outing, you can't like, dude, if you're a family that makes minimum wage, say both of you guys make, I don't know what that is. I'm just gonna round up. I know it's not this. It's $10. And let's say it's 10. If you make $10 an hour, which is above minimum wage right now, you can't even afford like some of these things. Dude, a day at Disney in 1960 for a family of 4 would cost you $36.45 a day at Disney. If you adjusted that for inflation, it should be $359.96. It's actually $1,055 to spend a day at Disney, which is accurate as fuck because I've looked into it, like taking the kids to like thing, and I'm like, oh, that's about right. Like, that's how much you would spend because it's factoring in adult tickets, a child ticket, food, and parking.
Yeah. I mean, so like one of my sons, my youngest son, he's super into Disney, and the rest of us, besides my wife, are super not into Disney.
Super not.
But we ended up getting my wife and him like year passes. So we got the year passes that are you can go during the week. So you can't go you can't go on the weekend.
Oh, so you can't do yeah.
But so that was like $850 for both of them. And I think it gives you I believe it gives you free parking. If you're right. If you want to upgrade to like the closer parking, then you pay like the $20 or whatever it is on the day of. But for $850, and I tell you, both of them, they are getting their money's worth, man. They have been there 15 times this year.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, once you get in there, man, so I always go like, Disney gonna get their money. You got to buy their merch. You got to buy their food. Disney did it. Walt Disney actually, when for those of you who don't know, when he bought all this land, the way that he designed Walt Disney World in Orlando was that you could never see the outside world from within one of the parks.
That's right.
So like in Disneyland, California, which was first, people would see traffic building up on the major highways and then leave early. So when he bought the land in Orlando, one of his biggest things was, I want people to feel like you're not, you're like you're in your own world.
And it literally is. If you've never been to Disney World,
yes.
It's in the middle of its own like country. Feels
absolutely,
like.
Man.
Yeah.
And if you go and look on like a Google, I don't know, like Google Earth or whatever, right? There's so much land still available for them to build on, but. My point of that was like, once you're in there, you're not leaving there going, oh, I'm going to go to McDonald's to save money. You know, like there's nothing else around. You're stuck. You have to buy their stuff, which
means they can price it however they want.
That's right. Or you are literally inconveniencing yourself to the max to actually go back to your car. And if you're like in a place like a Magic Kingdom, having to
monorail, or a ferry, it'll
take you an hour.
You're like, nope,
to get somewhere to eat.
You're like, I'll pay the $27 for a hot dog. I'm good.
It.
Dude, and as someone who works in accounting and finance, like in Orlando, there's a science to why you do that is actually taken into account. So like when you build a location like that, you're actually looking at the walk time of something very popular here is City Walk. Mm-hmm. So if you looked at City Walk, I guarantee you somebody looked at that and went, we have 16 buildings. Let's say, I'm just going to throw this number out there. You have 16 buildings, whether it's food or restaurants or whatever, blah, 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 blah. It takes X amount of time to get through those 16 buildings. They know down to the minutes is if someone spends 8 minutes in a place, they're more likely to spend X amount of dollars. If they spend 12 minutes in a place, like it can be an entire City Walk thing, they're more likely to spend X. So you fill it up. Like it isn't a coincidence why you keep adding things, whether it's kiosks, whether it's buildings, whether it's whatever, because the data shows that the more time you spend somewhere, you're gonna spend money because eventually you're gonna see something. Like, so it's by design. Like, I guarantee you, like, even the Disney said he didn't want to see that, but then now I guarantee you they go add another this, because that's 30 more seconds is gonna take you to walk from there to there, and we know that based on that data, you're more likely to spend X amount of dollars because you spent, you know, those 30 seconds more.
Yep.
Then it's so crazy how granular we have it down now.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's cool, man. Like I said, but it's, yeah, I mean, going back to your point of the pricing, it is, man. It's insane. And obviously, like, I think my family is doing well by doing this, like, this year pass, and they're definitely getting their money's worth. That's not normal, man. You go for one day, and it's retarded.
No, we definitely look out because we live here, and like you said, you can buy this annual pass.
Yep.
But if you're here on vacation,
yeah, there is none.
Dude, you're talking, if you're on vacation, you're gonna spend 3 days here. You're talking, that's a $10,000 vacation or whatever. You're gonna spend a week here. Yep. And you're gonna do all the theme parks. It's a $10,000 vacation, which is nuts, dude. Even something more basic than that, like the movies. And I know we've talked about this a little bit before, like, because I remember like going to a theater when I was younger, and it was like under $10 to get a ticket, and maybe for another $10 you get popcorn, soda, candy, whatever, yada yada. It was, so this here was showing that like in 1960, the article was like the average family of 4 would spend $376 to go to the theater, and that included a ticket, that included a soda, that included a popcorn, that included a candy, so all of it. If you adjusted that for inflation, it would cost $34 to go see a movie, $34.15. It's actually the average in America right now, $68.73 for a family of 4 to go see a movie, which I would say is too low, because I have spent $50 just on tickets to go see a movie, and then I've spent another $50 or $60 on food. So like it's always $100.
It's at least $12, right? At least $12 a head.
Yeah, dude. So
not more.
So do that math for a second. If you made, let's say, $10 an hour, which again is more than minimum wage in Florida, if you made $10 an hour, and at the end of the week, what's that? $400. A quarter of your money would go almost to go see a movie, because this is assuming like after taxes and all that.
Yeah,
quarter. So you can't go see a movie. Like how? How is that even? You know, like it's crazy to me that like you're basically, and that was the point of the article, was that like you're pricing things out, like these basic, what used to be basic family gatherings are now out of. Yeah, they're out of people's range. Like now they've become an upper middle class thing, you know, or a treat of like once or twice a year you go do.
Damn.
Dude, the baseball game was, the one that shocked me the most. A baseball game used to be $10.35 for a family of 4 in 1960. This included $1.91 to buy a ticket. For 4 tickets, $1.91, 4 tickets. 35 cents for what is this? Some kind of drink, a beer. It was 18 cents for a soda, 35 cents for a hot dog, 25 cents to park. So same thing we were talking about before. Adjusted for inflation, it should be $102 for a family of 4 to go see a baseball game, which I would say is reasonable.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all. It's actually $204, and you're talking about shitty seats for a family of 4 to go watch a baseball game now.
And not for nothing, man. Like, unless you're really into baseball, baseball's kind of boring.
It is.
Let's be honest, right?
And unless you live right next to a stadium, because this doesn't include gas and whatever else.
Right.
Like, you know, if you live in a town that has a baseball team, you got to park, and parking is included in this. Dude, the average, which I think this is low, but it says the average price of parking at a baseball stadium right now is $16.79. That's low, I think. But I guess there must be somewhere really in there that's like really cheap that they're just.
It's the Rays.
It's the Rays and Minnesota. They got to pay you to park in Tampa. Anyway, but so yeah, man, we were coming off of the Venus thing and then Vince Scully and all that stuff. I thought it was a good, sort of a good story. It was like talking about like family outings and how expensive they are now. It's like, how do you price things? And I would agree with that, man. I don't know that based on wages now. And even so much, there are higher paying jobs now, sure. So this just shows that there's just people are willing to spend more money. They have more disposable income. Like that is one side of the coin. But the other side of the coin goes is like if you're blue collar and you're making minimum wage and all that stuff, like some of this stuff is priced to the point where like you're doing it once a year.
Yep.
It's not a weekend thing. It's not a monthly thing. It's like I can't afford to do this that often.
Yeah,
like,
no,
it's
I
the
agree,
difference
man.
between that or groceries. So it's wild.
Yo, I wanted to bring this up to you. I saw that this week DeSantis came out and he is taking military members and basically saying we're going to hire military personnel to teach because there is a shortage of teachers in Florida.
Oh, they're desperate in Florida. That's right.
They are desperate in Florida.
And also, we use drones now, so we don't need people on the ground.
That's another topic. But when I first saw it, man, I was just like, I'm a former military man, and so I'm always like, I'm very pro-military, and I think that the people that I got to know when I was in the service, they're like they're high quality personnel. Mm-hmm. I don't know that they're teachers, but my feeling of seeing the headline initially was just like, oh, okay, like yeah, some of these guys and gals can teach, right? So some of the details on this was that this bill allows like a 5-year waiver from traditional certification requirements. You need to have 4 years of military experience. You need to have 60 credit hours of college. So essentially an AA.
Okay, yeah, so it's halfway to your bachelor's. Okay.
Yep. And it was for public and charter schools in Florida.
And you said this was a waiver for 5 years. Not that you can make it a career permanently. It's basically a head start, and then you have to finish, and then you could
if
be
you
a
want to
teacher
continue
permanently.
on, right?
And this is because of the shortage. So I saw the clickbait article headline of like military whatever can be teachers now. I don't know how I feel about this, man. Like,
well, he made this comment, and I gotta find it here
because I don't. Oh man, I think there's so much there. It's nuanced in the sense of like, what are they allowed to teach? Like what like you're not gonna have them teaching advanced like science or math or.
But let me ask you, because like your wife's a teacher. When they get a teaching degree, to my understanding, it is what they learn in college is actually how to teach, how to identify perhaps learning disabilities, things like that. But they're not necessarily experts in a subject. Is that true?
It depends on the grade level. So like if you're an elementary teacher.
Yep.
And it's under 3rd grade, I believe, you generally have to have a degree in early childhood education. It's very specific, and then you're only allowed to teach up to, I think, 2nd or 3rd grade. I'm going to get that wrong.
Okay.
If you're teaching at the middle school and high school level, I think then you start to become sort of subject matter experts, quote unquote. So like if you're teaching history, then generally you have a teaching degree, but maybe you have some sort of like minor in, like civics or whatever it is. Like, But I don't know that you're required.
Right, you're not required, right?
I don't know that you're required, to be honest with you. Because the other part is with all these standardizations, they almost tell you how to teach and what to teach. No, it's not almost. They do. They tell you what to teach and how. So, like when we were growing up, it's going to sound like old people talk, but like a teacher would go into a class and they would teach you a subject, and then it was sort of up to them on how they wanted to teach that. If they wanted to make a game or they wanted to do this, that. Now it's sort of more of like, hey, you have to teach, say, multiplication. By the way, here's how you need to teach multiplication.
So with that in mind, man, then is this a bad thing?
No, I would say you've almost turned teachers into a like. I hate to sort of like downgrade them to this, but it's almost like the call center people, where it's like, yo, here's this list, and you go down it.
Right.
Now,
Right.
Granted, again, they go to school, they learn specific things. There's certain things that they can spot and see and whatever, like for sure. But the way that they want you to do it, it's literally like, here's your syllabus, here's the box, here's how you're supposed to play in this box. And I know that's a big issue for teachers right now. It's like,
of course,
there's no creativity that you're allowed to have anymore. Like some of them figure out a way, but the creativity now has moved into how my classroom is set up, how maybe the type of free time you give kids, maybe that's but they dictate everything down to the amount of minutes you're allowed to spend on subjects right now.
Oh, wow.
So at least in the state of Florida, right?
So they're already sort of handcuffing them.
Yeah.
And which might explain why more and more teachers are choosing not to teach anymore.
It's also why I have arguments all the time where I go, I understand why teachers complain about the money that they make and whatever. Like I do get that on one breath, but on the other breath I go, well, if they're making you do it this way, then theoretically they've already told you like anybody can do your job. So here's the outline, right? And that's not to knock teachers, but it's literally here's the outline.
No, it's to knock the school system.
Correct. Like here's how you do this job. Here's how we want you to do this job. Don't you dare deviate from this plan. Like here you go. So at one point in time, teachers were not very difficult to replace, right? Because we all know like you get paid based on how difficult you are to replace, right? Like Shaq makes the money Shaq makes because he's extremely difficult to find another Shaq, right? So teachers got paid at a point in time because they were extremely difficult or they weren't extremely difficult to replace. Like there was a bunch of them. They were turning out teachers left and right out of college. Like, so I wonder if long term, does this increase pay for teachers because now suddenly you're harder to replace unless you start doing this where you're going, you don't need a teaching degree. Hell, you may not even need a degree. Like, just be able to follow these instructions like line by line. Like at some point,
bro, that's crazy.
And maybe you do make certain subjects like, no, you have to be an expert at this. But everything else, you just go, you know, can you
but
do
like
this?
what?
Yeah, what do you?
Because I mean, you know, there's with public school, bro. To me, man, it's like, and especially watching my kids go through it. A lot of it is like they're just babysitters for the 7 hours a day, and it's almost like like it's just a machine, right? Where adults
churning out employees, man.
Adults need to work, and then this is kind of getting kids ready for for their to be workers.
Yeah. And the problem is with the education system. We talk about this on here all the time. Is like it hasn't evolved for what it is now. Because in some senses, you do still need the babysitters, you do still need the churn out workers, but the new generation is sort of it's in conflict with that because they're not doing traditional jobs, they're not doing they don't need the traditional hours, they don't. So that it is going to be in conflict with sort of the education system of now, and then in the future, what does that become? What's the flexibility like behind the future sort of education system? Yeah, I don't know, man. And as someone who struggled mightily in school, man, like I struggled really, and I like to think I'm not a stupid person, but I struggled so hard in school because of sort of the box they try to pin you in because of that whole thing. Like I just didn't like doing work. It wasn't so much that I couldn't do it. It was just like I didn't like it. I didn't agree with it. I didn't, and so like in a lot of ways, I look at what sort of the education system is going through now, and you almost feel vindicated because it's like, yeah, this is the beef I had with it, at 12, and so, I do think it's long overdue for an overhaul. I do wonder if this ends up paying off long term for teachers because maybe they will get more money because DeSantis has raised the minimum here by a lot.
Is that right?
As far as like for new teachers, he's raised that minimum. I want to say it's gone up like $6-7 a year since he's been in office as far as like the starting salary for a new teacher. And then do you open the opportunity for other professions where you go, maybe they can try their hand at teaching. And if you're going to tell me how to do it anyway, and not only are you telling me how to do it, I'm graded on it. Like teachers someone comes around and literally does like an evaluation. And if you don't do that, you get shitty knocks for it. And it impacts I think it impacts your raises and it impacts sort of your scores as a teacher. Yep. And teachers are no longer guaranteed jobs year to year, where it used to be you were guaranteed. Now, because they're shorthanded, you are guaranteed, sort of. But on paper, teachers have to sort of re-up annually now in Florida. So theoretically, in a space where you have more than enough, if you're a shitty teacher, they'd just be like, yeah, don't come back next year. Like you're basically on a year-to-year contract. So, I feel like...
Can they still get tenure? Oh, can they get tenure? Now, I should say still. I know in the universities you can.
It's not a thing in the public school system anymore, right? Like if you've been around for a long time, the chances of you getting let go are probably pretty slim, and you might be grandfathered into this. But now you literally get this thing called like a reappointment letter where at, say, the end of the school year or getting close to the end of the school year, they'll be like, yeah, here's who has a position next year. They don't have to offer you that anymore.
Wow.
And then you might be guaranteed a job in the school system, but it's not at the school that you were already at. So you could end up being like at a school maybe 30 miles away from your house or the one you work at now or whatever. Like they'll go, somebody has an opening. Now you've got to go and apply for those openings within the school. So it is making it harder. Listen, this shit sucks, I guess, to some extent. I also think there's teachers who are just fucking terrible at their jobs, and I feel like this sort of keeps them on their toes of like, you better do good work, you better do, like I did agree with that. I did agree with the grading scales of like grading them on how they did stuff. I disagree with telling teachers how to teach stuff. I do think you should have standardization, because kids should be learning the same thing, and you should have proven methods. But also, I think what makes, like, if you think about your favorite teachers or people, they had this unique way of giving you information that sort of stuck.
Right.
And I feel like you're taking that sort of away from teachers. So
yeah, definitely so, man.
So it goes.
All right, man. Let's get off this shit. Dude, you seen this monkeypox shit?
Yo, I don't know what the fuck it is. Like, I keep seeing headlines for it and people with bumps. Dude, the pictures are horrifying.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. But you know what's funny, man? So like, did you see that they've been like the I guess the clickbait I call it?
Yeah.
It's like that it's a gay male disease. They're kind of touting it like that, and I'm like, this sounds eerily familiar to AIDS in the fucking 80s, bro.
Bro, I feel like anytime we have anything that's like a shitty disease and doctors don't have an answer, they're just like, must be those gays again. They're up to no good. Ignoring the fact that heterosexual people have anal sex too.
Dude, somebody told, I mean, I read that first, and then I was having a discussion, and I'm like, yo, that's bullshit. I go, it's a fucking human disease, man. Like, this is, if it affects the gay community, it affects us all. Like, there's I'm like, how do you catch this thing? Then as I read more about it, it's like, oh yeah, like you gotta kind of like be close with sort of rubbing skin. And I was like, oh yeah, we all do that.
Nah, bro, it just goes to show like straight heterosexual couples are not we're not touchy feely. This shit is wild,
dude. I'm like, and then of course, it's like, start wearing your mask again, and there is a vaccine, by the way.
Wait, a mask for monkeypox,
bro? I think it's just all it's all sort of going back to the COVID stuff.
Did you say there's a vaccine for this? Sorry, hold on.
Oh yeah,
for monkeypox.
Yeah,
so it's been a thing,
I guess, but I guess not as rampant, right? So there is a vaccine for it. There's not that many available, and so because of the rise in the cases, then like the big cities, right? The New Yorks,
fatal
the LAs,
if you get it? Like,
I don't know.
Or
anything could be fatal. That's the thing, man. Anything can be fatal.
I guess you're right. Yeah, everything can.
It depends on who you are.
Fuck, man. This one would suck because it's not like COVID where you could be like, nah, it's a regular cold.
Right. No, this one you
got lesions and bumps and all kinds of shit. Like, fuck, man. This would be a shitty one. And the only, so what is it? Skin to skin combat?
I think it's skin to skin combat.
That's it?
Skin to skin contact.
You did the same thing.
That's it.
It is combat, but also regular contact. So you have to have skin to skin regular contact with somebody who's infected, and then you could potentially pass on.
And I think it can also come through like really like close contact. But yeah, that to me, from what I've read, it's really the skin to skin contact, the rubbing, that kind of shit.
Yo, if you're somebody who doesn't like being touched, like hugged, and not like, what a time,
yeah, right?
You're like, yo, man, sorry, man, I'm not trying to get that trying to get that MP. I don't want that Mpox.
I know people like that too, man. They'd be like, I don't like all the hugging and kissing.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird like that too, man.
Fucking Puerto Ricans be kissing each other all the time.
Latinos do, bro. They be hugging and they be thinking like I had a weird awakening in the Caribbean when I was there about like even at work where people are like very touchy feely where they're just like hugs and like cheek kisses and all that stuff, and I am kind of weird about that shit. So I'm like, yeah, this is the perfect disease because I could be like, bro, the Mpox, dog, can't get that Mpox. Like, yeah, I'm gonna dab you up like because I don't want to get that Mpox.
Yeah, you were talking about some other shit that's coming out of China.
Yo, there's like there's a new virus. I gotta look it up. The name of it. It's like Nia something virus, but it's supposedly like fatal. It
was like fucking.
Let me see.
COVID part 2.
Dude, it's like worse than COVID, and it's supposed to be like this super ridiculous. China develops another novel virus. What's the name of it? It's a new SARS-like thing, but I forget what it's called. But it's supposedly like way more deadly. Like it's almost like the rate of death. Damn, what's the name of it? It's supposed to be really bad. But so far it's contained within China, but
we know how that goes.
Yeah, we know how this goes.
Yeah,
35 cases reported already.
35?
35 cases.
That's not bad.
In Taiwan Center for Disease Control, blah, 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 established. I'm trying to get the name of this, but it's in the same realm, but it had this interesting name of coronavirus.
Okay.
So the virus likely spread from animals to humans and can cause renal and liver failure. Novel Langia Henipavirus, Levi, has been found in China with 35 humans infected. Like, I think it was Levi virus was the name I was looking for.
It's the China virus, part Deux.
Part Deux. Since we're having the Frenchies. The China virus. Part Deux. That's the name of the pod, Part Deux.
I gotta see how you spell that.
Deux.
Oh,
Deux.
Yes. Yeah, don't you got French people in your family, man?
I do.
They gonna be calling you.
They're gonna be like, bro, you done
like, yo,
said.
what the fuck?
Yeah, listen, I've said worse around them. my go-to is Sacre Bleu. I don't even know what that shit means, but I say it all the time.
It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I think.
I was doing that with my daughter the other day. We were like, I forget what we were watching or talking about, and I just kept mocking like a French accent.
Yeah.
She was like, that's so wrong. Please don't do that outside of the house.
She's gonna be the one later on when she's an adult. You guys will be outside. You'll be saying some funky shit. She'll be like, Dad, not now.
Please don't do it.
Please don't be you right now.
My kids say that as fuck. I immediately turn into Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast.
I forgot about that character, bro. The fucking candle, right?
I immediately go like, there's a girl in the castle. Sacre Bleu. Just go. That's like my go-to line for anything French. It's like, there's a girl in the castle.
Yeah, how we doing on time, bro?
Oh shit, dude, we're 51 minutes in, man. We got some time here.
All right, good, man.
Bro, we were talking about shit being expensive earlier. Did you see this dude that got arrested on purpose because he could not afford to live freely outside?
Outside of what?
Just in society, bro.
Okay.
He goes like, well, fuck it. And this was it wasn't in America. I want to say it's the Philippines or Vietnam. Anyway, yo, this guy, he was a 60-year-old man, and then he stole 51 baht worth of soap at a pharmacy, and 51 baht, dude, is $1.41. That's the American equivalent. And then when the customers offered to pay for it, they're like, no. They saw that they were gonna arrest him. They literally called cops. They were gonna take him to jail. He said, no, please don't. Like, let me go to jail. And when they asked him why, he's like, he was struggling with starvation and he didn't have a job. And he said he's preferable to be in jail. He's like, you get 3 meals a day. And he's like, when you're lonely in prison, there are inmates by your side. You do all this stuff. He's like, but you go outside, you're probably going to starve to death, and I'm by myself.
Wow.
So he's like, dude, I'm like,
dude, I've actually not known personally, but sort of via other people, have sort of known people or known of people like that here in the States, of where they go like, yeah, fuck this. Like, it's too hard outside. I'd rather be in jail for the same reasons, because I got a community, and I get 3 square meals a day.
Man,
I get a bed, got a place to sleep.
Like, I get it and I don't all at the same time.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah,
bro.
I value, like, I think just being a person in society probably too much. Like, just being able to do whatever I want.
And how many stories have we heard about people about like how fucked up the jail system is? It's not a place where it doesn't sound like a nice place to go. I don't care.
Most definitely not.
I think I'd rather go and stand at the intersection and get some money and go to Subways and get something to eat and sleep in a tent in
get
the
some
forest.
4 for 4 from Wendy's. All I need is a couple bucks a day. But yeah, man, I can't even imagine having to do that for a place to sleep. But I guess at 60, bro, if you were homeless,
Yeah, I guess, man.
And it's not like but I would say in countries like these, man, like it doesn't really matter what you do, right? Like you're going to jail with the rest of like really hardcore criminals, right? Like even though you only stole whatever, like
the rest of like the society's rejects.
It's still a tough place to live, man. That's like projects on steroids.
Yeah.
It's just
bro.
Like, and you can't leave. You know what I'm saying? It's like being confined to the projects with no rules. It's just like,
now if you got a small country like that, right? Like, you know, I think here in the U.S. you could migrate to different parts where you go like, okay, well, I'm gonna be homeless. I'm gonna go somewhere with like better weather. You could do that.
Aren't we doing that right now? Didn't Texas just send us all their like migrants?
Oh, I missed
not homeless migrants, I guess. So maybe that is the key difference, because you know, like to your point, we do send people here, homeless folks. We'll take a bus full of them and we'll ship them off to like California or the South, like somewhere warm, like all the Northeast towns and stuff.
Really?
So I wonder. And Texas just did this with a bunch of migrants because New York was talking shit. They took a bus full of migrants that came over,
and they sent them to New York.
Sent them to New York, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I did see that.
Which bot is it's from Thailand. I'm like, wait, I got that wrong. I was saying the country earlier, so this was in Thailand.
Oh, in Thailand.
Yeah. I was
still, man, like really small country. Like, where you going?
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. It's a tough one, dude. I don't.
I'll tell you about another guy that got arrested. This guy's in Florida.
Okay.
So this dude got arrested for misuse of 911.
Oh, how do you misuse 911?
All right, so he kept calling 911 and telling them that they need to arrest Joe Biden and free El Chapo. Bro. So I guess he made enough calls where the dispatchers were like, bro, like you're misusing 911. We're gonna send somebody after you. So this dude was like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep calling
until you free
bro,
El Chapo.
He's on the phone when the cops show up to his house.
He's on the phone with 911.
Yeah.
I gotta look this up now.
And they arrested him, bro.
Yo, what mental illness do you have that? Holy fuck, bro! So he's on the phone. So the whole time is like, you gotta arrest Joe Biden, and you gotta free El Chapo. Does he ever talk about why?
I don't know, man. The article wasn't that long.
Hilarious.
But I was like, that's great, man. I was thinking that it would be like fantastic. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, it might be like a Joe Biden and then like, you know, arrest Joe Biden and reinstate Trump or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, El Chapo, man. I go, that's phenomenal.
Free El Chapo. So funny, bro. It's so good. Just picture somebody like 911, what's your emergency? Free El Chapo. You just fuck Joe Biden. And then you do you have a long conversation like, hey man, when y'all gonna free El Chapo? Like, talk to me here. How come Biden's still free?
But apparently the guy was warned a few times and he just kept fucking calling. Nope. He kept fucking calling.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you know there's something crazy wrong with you. Because then they go like, yo, if you don't stop calling, we're going to call the popo. Yo, he down for the cause, bro. He don't give a fuck. Bro, this guy would fit in with my favorite app right now in the world.
Oh, hit me with
Listen, my favorite app right now. So do you have a Ring camera?
Yes.
Okay, so you know Ring, you get that neighborhood app.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is, have you ever scrolled through that shit?
I have not scrolled. I mean, I've seen some posts.
You get the notifications or something.
Yes.
Bro, scroll through it. It is gold. It's so damn funny. It's the funniest shit now that I scroll through and like, bro, do you get like random people on camera like just doing wild shit. You get the complaints from your neighbors who have too much time on their hands.
That I've seen.
Oh, God. Like your neighbors who are like, this brown man came up to my door today. And you can clearly see like a name tag and a clipboard and whatever. And you're just like, and they're just like, does anybody know what this man would have wanted? And it's just like, yeah, bro, he's trying to sell you some Spectrum. Like, fucking just answer the door or don't. Like, bro, I saw one this week. a dude was half naked. He was like in his underwear.
Yeah.
And he just kept ringing the doorbell in the middle of the night and then like talking into the camera.
Bro.
Oh, bro, it's so good. The people with animals that show up, like I saw this guy, he had a chicken and he just went up to the doorbell and he's like showing them the chicken and he's asking them if that was their chicken, but he's just like going off on it. Like, he's clearly drunk. He's like not wearing shoes and he's talking about, bro, it's the best, most entertaining app ever. You gotta scroll through that bitch.
Let me tell you something, man. That's one thing. So like the neighborhood that I live in, I will say this, man. I don't get a lot of weirdos around there, and
I live a little.
And my neighbor, like the outside area of where I live, is a little suspect. So I would expect
by the
to get some by the Amscot, the fucking pawn shop, and the 3 auto parts stores within a quarter mile.
You said pawn or born?
They haven't opened a porn shop yet.
Yo,
I'm sure that's coming.
That's the most Latino I ever heard you sound. I couldn't tell which one you were saying. Oh, fuck, bro. Oh my god, dude. So for your neighborhood, bro, if you got shit popping off like around it and that area, go on that app. It's so good, man.
Well, there's always shit popping off.
Always. But the thing is like even when there's nothing popping off, the people who have so much time on their hands to just complain, it's so good, man. Like they're like, these kids came to my door today and they're knocking and they're asking for stuff, and it's like, yo, it's Halloween. It's so wild, bro.
They have masks on and everything.
It's so good, bro. I'm like, oh, they got a mental illness. They got a mental illness.
But I have seen some like weirdo shit.
No. You definitely see some crazy shit. But that's part of it, right? Like you see some crazy shit where you're like, oh, that's wild. Then you see you stay home and you got nothing to do and you bored. And then you got like the people who you're just like, yo, there's something a little off there. I dig it. Yo, there was this one once, bro. The person was like, this lady comes by every day, never steals anything, never. She just like prances in front of the house, like almost dancing. She picks up things like flower pots and stuff like that, looks at them, puts them down. Dude just prances, does a whole thing, and then just walks off. And this guy just kept posting like, does anybody know who this lady is? Like, oh, she does. And he's like livid. She's picking on my shit. But the lady puts everything back where she got it from.
Why? If you're the guy, why wouldn't you go outside?
I would think so. Or do you want to? Do you want to engage with somebody like that who's dancing with your plants and shit?
Dude, I would, I think gauging on like how they like if it's like a let's say, I don't know, a frail female. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I don't think that I'm having any issues going outside. Rather than going to, if it's a 250-pound, 6'5" dude like prancing around with my pots, then I'm going, okay, I need a bat before I go outside.
I think if you're willing to dance with a fern, I ain't fucking with you no matter what. I don't care what size you are, bro. That's a level of instability I'm not ready to confront. I'm just not.
So he fucking posted on the website.
Yeah, they'll post the videos, or sometimes they won't even put the video. They'll just complain.
Somebody, please come get your mother.
Oh, bro, these. Whose wife is this?
Yep.
Bro, it's so wild because between that and like there's the neighborhood one and there's the other one that I constantly see.
Next door.
Next door.
That's the other
one. And the complaints from people like there's cars been here for however long. God, and it's just like, bro, shut the fuck up and go to work. Like, why are you still talking? But it's so good because I'm like, it says a lot about your neighborhood. It says a lot about your neighbors. I treat that shit like Facebook, bro. I just be scrolling through that bitch, and I'm like, where's the like button on this shit?
And it's just like Facebook, bro. Like, if somebody put something like sort of semi-controversial, the comments are never ending, bro.
They're never ending, bro. My favorite is like when people be talking shit where they're just like, they'll say like what you said, they'll be like, why don't you just answer the door? Or they'll be like, you should get a job. It's so good, bro.
Dude, I've seen shit on Nextdoor where it'll be like, I don't normally do this, but like I need money. Like I need money to pay my rent.
I see that all the time too.
Yeah,
I've seen people
dude.
ask for food on there.
Oh yeah.
Like they'll go like, I don't normally do this, but does anybody have any food donations and stuff like that? And I'm like, oh shit,
wow.
like it's and it'll be like, yeah, somebody like within your neighborhood, which I'm like, okay, like stuff like that. I'm going, that's kind of a cool way, I guess, to sort of like
because you don't know
like
what people are going through.
Yeah,
man.
you don't, right? Yeah,
And dude, not for nothing, man. I know a few of my neighbors. I do not know all my neighbors.
I don't know any of mine, man.
Yeah.
I know one, maybe across the street. The lady next door from me is 100, and I don't even know she's allowed, to be honest with you. I see her once a year, bro. She make an appearance, and then she disappears into the ether. And
Bro.
like,
So sometimes you don't know that the people that are right next door to you or a few doors down are actually in need.
I know the ones right next to me the other way back this way, they don't like us, so we won't talk to them much.
Based on what?
I think they're in like witness protection or something, bro. They're just really weird. Like they don't say much at all. Like ever. And then like they're always together no matter what they're doing. Like it's a wife and husband and a kid.
Okay.
And bro, he could be taking the garbage out and all three of them go. And he could be like I've seen him literally like mowing the lawn and they're like sitting on the grass like watching him, like the wife and the kid. It's
what if he has them
really
hostage?
bizarre. Yo, I be thinking that shit, or I be thinking they're like witness protection, or I be thinking like it's weird because they don't talk at all.
If you're witness protection, like why do you gotta be outside when the dude's cutting the grass?
Dude, it's so bizarre. Like you could say hi to them, and they'll literally just look dead at you and won't even respond.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then occasionally I get the head nod.
Yeah.
One time the kid flew his drone into my yard. And I was like, I can't fucking wait till you have to come here and ask me for this drone. And I made it a point because I could just leave it in my yard for them. Yeah, he did.
Okay.
They had to knock on the door and the whole nine. I dragged that shit out. I was like, what, a drone in my yard? And I had that shit already.
Yeah.
But I knew and so I was like, I'm going to pick it up because he could just walk into my yard and pick it up and just go back. But I'm like, nah, we talking. So he was like, like really long, like we were, telling me the whole story. We were flying a drone back there, and my son, he went too far. It's like, yeah, bitch, I know. Just tell me the drone's in the yard, right? But I'm just sitting there, just letting him talk. It's the most he's ever said to me. It like I think the next time.
And this is like your next door neighbor.
No, literally next door, bro. Like
wow.
share, like.
So this is the one of your dog ran up on you.
Yes.
Like a couple weeks ago.
And you saw how he looked.
Yes.
That's how he looks, even if the dog's not there. where he looks shocked to see you. It's so strange, man. Yeah. Like, he hates my guts. I can't. And I think they hate everybody's guts. I've never seen him engage with anyone.
Yeah.
And I've seen him almost scurry away. So, dude, you might be onto something with this hostage shit. I used to think they were stealing cable or power from me. And I was like, maybe that's why they scurry off, because they're doing some shit.
Dude, that might be some shit. Like, why would you have the kid and the wife out there when you're cutting the grass,
bro? No matter what they're doing.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no matter what they're doing, they're together.
He's probably like, I need to see you out here.
Even in the backyard, because I'm tall enough to where if I'm next to the fence, I can see into the yard. And they've got a whole, listen, if the apocalypse pop off, I'm jumping over there and I'm taking some fruit and shit and some veggies. Bro.
Oh, they grow their own shit?
Yeah, they got a whole, that's recent too. I think maybe post-COVID, they got a whole farm in that bitch. And I seen the dude, I'm like, I could take him. So if some shit pop off, I'm taking his fruit.
He might be what I could like that dancing bitch with the fucking ferns in the front yard. Better be careful.
I don't know.
Yo, on that, tell them where they can find us.
Woo, if you're not already following at the Carbon Football Podcast on IG, at Carbon Football Podcast on TikTok, the Carbon Football Podcast on YouTube, Facebook page, the Carbon Football Podcast, and all your favorite streaming platforms, man. We are on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Ghana, Geo7, Podchaser, Pocket Cast, you name it, we're on it. Hit us up. We appreciate the support. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser. If you're on YouTube, there's a like button over there somewhere. Hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. The YouTube base has been growing little by little, man. We used to get like 3, and then now there's like a whole 16 of y'all. We appreciate it. So just keep it rolling. Keep it popping off, man. And
yo, before we go, man, last thing I wanted to hit up just really quick. Olivia Newton-John died this week as well at 73. And the reason why I brought it up was obviously anybody growing up in my generation knows her for probably other movies too, but definitely Grease. Her daughter posted something, and she had stage 4 cancer.
Oh, she did. I didn't know that.
Stage 4 cancer, 73 years old, and she was in a lot of pain. But one thing that she said before she passed, I told her daughter, she's like, "Yo, I've done more in my life than I could have possibly imagined." And so even in death, right? Like for somebody to look back at their life and to go like, "Yo, that was a dope ass ride." Like, yo, go out, do your shit, people.
Shit, man.
Don't let shit hold you back. And hopefully we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.